Ann Coulter weighed in on the white supremacist terror attack in Charlottesville, and let's just say she had a very Ann Coulter response.
I do think we need a few facts before leaping to conclusions here. I mean, the media seems to think they know everything they need to know about Unite the Right and this guy, James Field, whose car accelerated, it smashed through pedestrians and then reversed and it ended up killing a woman. But first of all, as for Unite the Right, for all we know, there were, little old ladies who don't care anything about race, but were there
to protest the shutting down of a statue. That's
right.
What they were there.
Robert E. Lee is a fine man, and I'd like to hear the speakers. The speakers could have been Civil War buffs. We don't know because they weren't allowed to speak because the Democratic governor, despite a court order, shut the event down. Mm-hmm. So, I've seen some pictures of some Nazis in the crowd. I also saw that picture of the little dead drowned Syrian child, which was supposed to be completely representative of what's happening in Europe right now. Turns out the media's photographic representation does not always entirely capture a situation. So I would like to know the facts about that. As for James Field, well, there are two. I mean, we don't know. We haven't heard from him. Look, if he did this intentionally and maliciously, fine. Fry him. I don't care. Yeah. No Republican would defend him. But we don't know. He could have done it accidentally.
He could have done it accidentally. We don't know. We don't know the motive. We're fucking stupid liberals jumping to conclusions. I mean, sure, there were left-wing protesters out there, and sure, the streets were filled with literal neo-Nazis and Klansmen and people doing the Sieg Heil salute and whatnot, but so a car accelerated into a group of left-wing protesters. It could have been an accident. You don't know. Maybe the car... And you notice earlier... She said, the car accelerated. I mean, the car accelerated. Notice how she's seeping the agency from him. The car accelerated. It's not he put his foot on the gas pedal and fucking pressed it down because he's a vicious terrorist killing in the name of his white supremacist ideology. The car accelerated. And the people at Unite the Right, I'm sure there were a few Nazis there. That is a legendary quote. Sure, there were a few Nazis there, but for all we know, all the other people could have been grandmas, little old grandmas who just, wanted to hear the people give the speeches. And it could have been Civil War buffs there. That's who was there protesting. It could have been little old grandmas and Civil War buffs. It's true. Okay, whatever. There are a few Nazis there. That's fucking crazy. Who says that? It's a few, whatever, there's a few Nazis, it happens. Hey, what are you gonna do? There's a few Nazis. So you look around in the crowd that you're with, you got some people dressed as Klansmen, some people, flying Nazi flags, some people holding signs that say, Jews are the children of Satan. Whatever, I mean, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna, walk away from that crowd? Yeah, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do! Yes, that's what I'm gonna do! Now, flip this. What's funny is she thinks she's railing against the hypocrisy of the left there by saying, you didn't hear the part, but earlier on she talks about, in Barcelona, now everybody's hesitant to discuss motive. Oh, there's such hypocrites on the left. Actually, that's not true at all. Almost everybody I've seen on the left, this appears to be an instance of radical Islamic terrorism. This appears to be a Muslim fundamentalist. This is ISIS. So people are talking about the motives in this instance. I don't know, you're talking about this fucking, hypocrisy on the left and talking about motive. You're the fucking hypocrite. Because guess what? When it came to the Barcelona situation, she's like, radical Islamic terrorism. It's the ideology. Call it out. It is Muslim fundamentalism. It is ISIS. Let's talk about the motive in this instance. And you're the one who, as you're ranting against your made-up hypocrisy on the left, you're like, well, but that could have been an accident when the white supremacist guy speeds up into a crowd of left-wing protesters. For all we know, it was an accident. We need just a few facts. Just a few. Okay, you want a few fucking facts? How about the ones we learned the same goddamn day? Like he was part of a group that was called, what is it? I think Vanguard America. Now they deny that, but they're lying because there's fucking pictures of this guy with the people from Vanguard America holding their fucking goofy shields. This is a white nationalist, white supremacist group. These are people who say their fucking slogan, or the thing in their manifesto, is that we gotta stop buying into the false notion of equality. So how's that for a fact? How about the fact that his teachers There's a teacher of his who he said, yeah, this guy was always like weirdly obsessed with the Nazis. Gee, I'm so shocked that a white supremacist guy who does a white supremacist terror attack was obsessed with Nazis, and apparently they took a trip to Germany, and he said this is where the magic happened when they were at a fucking concentration camp. We just wait for a few facts. How are those for fucking facts, Anne? How are those for facts? Such a loser. You're such a child. Just admit it. Hey, yeah, white supremacist terror attack. White supremacist terror attack. Let's call out this evil ideology by its name. If there are Muslims in the midst of a protest where some people, remember when they drew a cartoon of Muhammad and there were basically mobs of angry Muslims. And, some of them were holding signs that said, like, implement Sharia and we will behead you for insulting the prophet and shit. If you're a Muslim who's in the group with those fundamentalists, yes, it is incumbent on you, if you don't agree with them, to look at that and say, you know what, I'm out because these people are too extreme. So, yes, you are linked with those people if you're standing in that protest. They're all Muslim fundamentalists in that protest. By the same token, these people are all either white supremacists, white nationalists, or they're just so amazingly sympathetic to them that they're no problem hanging out with them. When you're in a group with people doing the Nazi salute, that's not one where you just let it slide. I'm out now. Okay, you guys are too extreme. So, yes, you are culpable for that. Absolutely. But no, in the case of the white supremacist terrorists, it could have been an accident. Could people at the Unite the Right rally? Sure, there were a few Nazis, whatever. Don't look at that. But there were maybe grandmas too, and Civil War buffs. That's who was giving the speeches. We covered the story of one of the guys who was the leading organizer for this, Matthew Heimbach. He spoke to media outlets. They interviewed him at the event. And he's very clear about what Unite the Right is about. 100%. He said, look, man, we think Trump is, bought by Wall Street, bought by the banks, doing the bidding of the establishment, listening to neocons on foreign policy, being too hawkish. So far you're thinking, oh, that stuff actually makes sense, right? But then he says, which is why our conclusion is we need to set up a white ethno-state. How the fuck did you get to that conclusion? That's the definition of a non sequitur. Here are all these problems about how the establishment controls everything. Now let's kick out all the minorities. So mostly white Wall Street controls everything. Mostly white Trump's cabinet is listening to the establishment and Wall Street. Therefore, let's kick out minorities. But that wouldn't solve any problem. Even as you diagnosed it, that wouldn't solve any problem. So we know what it's about. It is specifically racist and white supremacist. That's what the movement is for. Maybe the car accelerated. He didn't accelerate. He has no agency. The car accelerated, and maybe it was an accident. We had just a few facts. We need a few facts. Other than the one where he was really sympathetic to the Nazis and joined a group that was white supremacist. But outside of that, we need a few more facts, I guess. Maybe a few more facts. After listening to this story, it's either the case that Ann Coulter literally has, like, Nazi sympathies. It's either that, or she's a liar, or she's the dumbest person in America. Those are your options. It's got to be one of those three.